time do you have?
5:09 p.m.
Welcome all to the Revitalization Trust Fund open meeting, being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12th, 2020, due to the not so current state of emergency. In order to allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded, so that the public may follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Just as a reminder that these meetings are being recorded, and please don't have anything on your screens that you would not like shared as part of the recording. All righty then. And now let's get off to the really fun things. Actually, Amy, do you want to do the introductions, and we'll kick it off that way?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I wanted to take this opportunity to welcome and introduce Abby Judd from MAPC, which is the Metropolitan Area Planning Council. MAPC is helping to conduct an arts and culture action plan for the town of Needham. Just a little history is that I had reached out to MAPC last spring inquiring about technical assistance to put together such a plan. And through a series of conversations and then some grant funding that was received by MAPC over the summer, it turns out that they are able to cover their technical assistance in full, which is a donation of just about $43,000 worth of consulting fees to the town of Needham, which is amazing. We are so appreciative. We kicked off the effort just a couple of months ago, and leading the effort is Abby Judd, as well as her colleague Archana, who is not with us this evening because she is not feeling well. But I'm going to hand it over to Abby and just say thank you for all of the time and effort that you've already contributed to this effort. We are already making some great headway, but I'll let Abby get into it. But welcome and thank you for being here.
Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that introduction, Amy, and thank you, Paul, and members of the Revitalization Trust Fund for hosting me. I'm very excited to be here with you all. As part of the Metropolitan Area Planning Council, I serve as a regional arts and culture planner and have been with MAPC since March of 2022, and really excited about work like this, focusing on communities and what is wonderful about communities and thinking about where the vision for arts and culture is for the future of Needham. So I wanted to just give a little bit of overview, and I've had the good fortune of working with Amy and putting together kind of a work plan within the Arts and Culture Action Plan for Needham, and also have had the opportunity to learn more about the work that you all do through talking with Paul as well. And just wanted to use this time just to share a little bit about kind of our process and what we're doing, and also just invite you all to give feedback and participate within this process as well, and just explain a little bit about kind of our role in this work. But happy to stop at any time. Please feel free to interrupt and just ask questions. Really just would love to be more in conversation with you all and learn more about your work. I'm just going to share my screen. I promise not to bore you with many slides. Just wanted to give you kind of all the visuals, since I'm also pretty visual, and I think it's helpful when thinking about arts and culture to share out. So can you all see my screen? Yes. Okay, great. So this is just a little bit of an adaptation of the work plan that we're going through. And as Amy mentioned, I'm not doing this alone. I'm working with my colleague Archana Menon, who unfortunately is sick today, but also with the support of our department and the Arts and Culture Planning Department at MAPC, Anna Singupta as well, who's been with the agency for a while and has also worked directly on a lot of the projects that I'll talk about today, just to give you a little bit of context about the type of work that we do. And just for those who don't know or have not worked with MAPC before, we're a regional planning agency serving the 101 municipalities around the greater Boston area, including Needham. and provide technical assistance on a variety of projects, including housing, transportation, land use, and arts and culture. It is very rare to have an arts and culture department within a regional planning agency, so I count myself very lucky to be in Boston and be here. And it brought me here all the way from Austin, Texas, because I wanted to do arts and culture planning, and I'm so grateful to be in a regional planning agency that values this. And so I know that you all think about this in your work, and just wanted to give a little bit of context for how MAPC goes about this work. And so there are 8 subregions. Needham is located both in the inner core subregion and also the Three Rivers Interlocal Council. Another hat that I wear at MAPC, it just started as the Three Rivers Interlocal Council subregional coordinator. So I get to work with Amy in that way as well on other projects. But that's just a little bit about MAPC and kind of the work we do. And all of this is united through a regional plan that MAPC put forward called Metro Common, which guides our work. And then within the Arts and Culture Planning Department, we really focus on advancing planning and policy that can help arts and culture thrive in the greater Boston area. And so a lot of our values and why we do what we do is really rooted in equity, social justice, thinking about well-being within communities, thinking about how arts and culture can support inclusion in communities, and also valuing creativity, boldness, thinking about the aesthetic impact of the work that we do, and then just reflection on history in the past. A really unique role we also have in our department is a regional humanities specialist who started last summer as another exploring different parts of this work as well. So we do that. Those are our values and guide who we are and what we do. But we provide lots of different types of technical assistance. Some is for cultural development for cities and towns in the area. We also do data and research around arts and culture space and advocate public policy to support arts and culture. And also just really think about building capacity for local communities. So some of the outcomes that we've seen from prior work is installing arts and culture planners in municipalities, which has also been a really exciting thing to see. And just a little bit of a background on some similar projects that we've done, similar to the Arts and Culture Action Plan. Most similarly, it was from Arlington in 2016, MAPC led a cultural planning process very similar to this one that went through and looked at the existing cultural assets and doing what we call cultural asset mapping, looking at the people, places, and organizations that support arts and culture and community, and also inviting public engagement and conversation around why people love those elements of their community and what are the things that they value most within the arts and cultural community, and really putting that into a plan that has time delineated in the next 3, 5, 10 years. We want to see these arts and cultural investments made, or we would like to see these goals within our community, whether that's a performing arts or performing arts venue, or thinking about we want a public art plan, or kind of all these other pieces of really thinking about how to support arts and culture in a community. Also, Archana, who's not here, actually came to MAPC through doing a creative placemaking project, working with the Natick on the creative placemaking strategy. And so this is another example of a type of technical assistance we provide, of thinking of where there can be investments of arts and cultural work within a local community. And we've done these in the past as well. Just an example of, I said we did a little bit of data and research work. We've worked with our data services department at MAPC to put together kind of a larger catalog of all of the local arts entities in the region, and are continually building that out in a project called Revive. And then finally, we also have been hosting workshops for municipalities, including one that's just about to kick off this year called Making It Public, which is in partnership with the New England Foundation for the Arts, NEFA, around how to do public art projects locally and what that looks like. And so that's just a little bit of the snapshot of the work that we do. And all of those things I think really inform this process that we're working on with Amy, and also working a cultural planning working group with the town of Needham. And so just to answer briefly, what is an arts and culture action plan? Really, it's an inventory of the things that are already happening and the incredible resources that exist of arts and cultural stakeholders and groups like this that advocate on behalf of arts and culture in the community, and really documenting any existing needs or interests for arts and culture stakeholders and putting those into an action plan that can identify opportunities and priorities to really make sure that arts and culture can continue to thrive within a community and making those spaces. So it's really trying to make these actionable and being able to implement what are the goals and really take advantage of the opportunities that are ongoing. So for Needham, we are hoping that this action plan will serve as a blueprint to really support Needham's efforts to nurture a thriving arts and cultural community that's accessible to all. So definitely on the slide, some evidence of the Needham Community Revitalization Trust Fund here as well, but there's so many different pieces that we're really hoping to bring together as a united conversation around what's wonderful in arts and culture in Needham, and also what are the maybe collective needs as well. I just wanted to give a brief kind of timeline as we're thinking about this process. We've been really working with the Cultural Planning Working Group starting in November and coming into this beginning of this year, and looking towards more of a public process starting in late February and going through the summer, and really would value any insight and thoughts that y'all have on ways we can be intentional about connecting with folks, and also through y'all's work and really drafting that action plan more towards the end of the summer, and then have that up for public review. And so this is an evolving proposed timeline, but just wanted to give you all a little bit of an idea of where we are. And so I just want to share our contact information here, and I'll stop talking because I feel like I've been talking way too long, but happy to answer any questions, and just would love to invite any thoughts or reactions. And I know there's just so much that this group is leading, and so I'm excited to just be here and be a participant in that way, just listening to what y'all have to say. So stop there. But just any questions or points of clarification, I feel like I might have run through that a little bit too fast. So. And Paul, I hope that covered what you had hoped.
Yes, no, it was a great overview, and I think one of the questions that is relevant to it is what are the types of actionable outcomes that you think might come from this process, knowing what we're trying to be able to bring together as opposed to other towns.
Yeah, so at the moment where we are in the process is we've gone through and kind of compiled a lot of the existing conditions of just existing policies that Needham has put forward, and also have conducted interviews with some arts and culture stakeholders as well. And I think some of the things that we've heard thus far and really are thinking about is there's so much incredible work going on in Needham, and how to bring and coordinate all of those pieces together so that residents are able to know what's happening, know where to find different arts and cultural resources within the community, and really supporting the work of all of the different coalitions and different groups to know about what's happening. So I think that there's some elements around coordination that we've heard thus far, but also thinking about where to add capacity. And so that could be investing in arts and culture resources within the town and making that recommendation, or thinking about expanding on and clarifying the roles in which all the different organizations play. And so we're really at the stage of listening and curious what is most helpful for you all as you support and navigate arts and culture within Needham, and telling the history and also reflecting on the identities within Needham as well. So we are hoping that there can be some really maybe some distinct asks and strategies. So within kind of any planning process, what we'll do is we'll put forward kind of the goals and then have strategies underneath each goal, and then make sure that those are time delineated and assign kind of responsibilities for implementation. So it won't just go and sit on a shelf, but really think about this as a document to help the action plan being a document that can point to some of the needs around maybe it's investments in facilities, and knowing that, or collaboration between different organizations, or ways to use the public facilities that do exist. So those are some of the initial things. And I know, Amy, we've been going back and forth, and if there are things that I've missed that in our conversations, I'll definitely pause and make sure I'm not speaking out of line as well.
No, I think you've covered everything.
Just one more question I had was that just came to mind is there any part of this process that would help give us better perspective on how to qualify for grants and other types of resources that can be used? Our funding up till just about a year and a half ago, for the last 22 years, I guess, or whatever, that has all been 100% private donations. And our first grant was actually from the Needham Arts and Cultural group, and which they were kind enough to be able to award us some money this year too, which is fantastic. So there are our first two grants. And but but when we're working on larger projects, we'd like to be able to see if we could be as effective as possible in presenting the things, because you can, obviously it's great to be able to map these things out, but if you don't have, but you also need the ways of being able to reach the different resources that could supply the funds to be able to actually execute. And so is there anything in your plan that will sort of give us at least a guideline on what recommended ways are to approach those things?
Absolutely. I think within the planning process, we can go through and also like outline where there are opportunities to fund for any of the goals or strategies that we propose. And I know there are different pots available of funding throughout the state, but also just as we're kind of going through this process of planning, can identify and share. There are different grants that we are just have become aware of as we're thinking about public art, as we're thinking about community planning more generally around arts and culture, whether that's through cultural districts or thinking a little bit more strategically. I know all of those things kind of come from the community first versus us kind of applying or providing more direct funding in that way. But happy to kind of talk through some of those pieces. Within planning, I feel like there's always a tension of like, you can make plans, but they do need to be implemented, and also knowing that takes resources. And so I think one of hopefully an outcome also of this process, and particularly as we're moving through the engagement process, is really developing buy-in from Needham at large, of thinking about where there may be an interest or a political appetite to support a more arts and culture funding at the local level. And if that's I think we'll find out also in our engagement, if that's something that folks would be interested in supporting or thinking about to support the implementation of this plan too, and knowing what needs exist.
Sure. No, I know Marcus has been our specialist who has been focusing on being able to look for grant opportunities. And so I know that any details that we can also channel to him would be really helpful.
Yeah, that I echo that too, Paul. I think that would be very helpful, and just knowing what, if there are resources available that, because we're kind of a special type of organization, given our status being sort of an arm of the select board, and part of municipality, a lot of grants we're not eligible for. So like a traditional nonprofit. So I think it would be helpful for, if part of this process, if you can come up with ways to make it easier for us to know what we could be eligible for, because we do give a lot of value to the community. I might have just missed it when you talk, but is there going to be a sort of a formal comment process for the community to weigh in? Because I know, Needham our Needhamites are very active, very opinionated, and love their town. And so definitely, as you're going through this process, I just wanted to hear if there is going to be a way to sort of reach out to as many people as possible. There's a lot of different parent groups connected with the schools. I'm sure they would like to hear about the work that you're doing and the town is doing on this, and might have some thoughts, some creative ideas. Obviously there's people who are already connected and involved, but I'm sure there's also some people who are not as connected but would like to weigh in and maybe get involved.
Absolutely. Marcus, thank you so much for bringing up. I feel like I skimmed over that piece of just like the public engagement piece, which we are preparing for and ramping up for right now. But I think within our public engagement plan, we want to share and circulate a survey, a townwide survey for everyone. In addition to that, we're planning 2 public meetings. First one being much more generative of thinking about what arts and cultural assets exist, but also thinking about what that could look like in a more creative way or aligning that with other events. And also, I know that we are planning on attending the Multicultural Festival in March as well, but we would welcome any other events that this group would put forward. And I really appreciate the comment too around having connections with the schools and also with parents. I think with the formal review, so our hope is to present a draft of the action plan, and then there will be a formal review period too, where we would love to receive comments and feedback and make sure that those priorities that we will draw directly from the survey and also from the engagement events, but really make sure that those are reflected or the values that are articulated are reflected, and also that in that comment period, there's availability to do edits and also thinking about what might be missed or what areas could be strengthened. And just, I want to circle back to your grants question. One thing I know that is ongoing right now is there's a Bloomberg temporary public art grant that might be of interest specifically with this group. And I can forward that on to you, Marcus, and this group as well. It's just something that we've looked into recently, if that isn't already on y'all's radar at the moment. And it's a national grant, but it values it. I think there are grants available up to 1 million, and there has to be a partnership between the municipality, arts organization, and community, which it seems like this group might have some real strength in making that application or space forward too.
That's great.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
But keep us honest and make sure with the public engagement piece. I would welcome any thoughts on ways we can connect with folks in meaningful ways. And we'll be also planning a site visit, another site visit. We had one in December where we met with Amy. But if there's other places that you would think that we need to really connect in February, and I'm also going to attend the Ruthie Foster concert in March. I'm excited about at Town Hall. If there are other things like that, we would love to be there.
What about the Art Association here? That would be a good contact to.
So the working group that we have for the Arts and Cultural Plan has representatives from many of the organizations. So Paul is the representative from the trust fund. We've got the Needham Art Association. We've got there's about 13 different people on the group itself. So Needham Community Theater, for example, we've got somebody from the Fine Arts Department at Needham High School. So we've got great representation from many different sort of arts and cultural facets in town.
Oh, that's great.
And as far as public engagement, I can, say from experience that MAPC does an amazing job at public engagement, but also we'd work closely with the town's public information officer to make sure that the word gets out about these opportunities for, public survey and also focus groups. Just to give you an example, we just actually, there's still time until midnight tonight if you haven't filled out the parking survey, not to switch subjects here, but we did a lot of outreach for that, and we have well over 1,000 respondents to the parking survey, which is really pretty terrific. And we have an open house coming up next Thursday, and we've been pushing that out a lot. So making sure that every resident and business owner and community member has an opportunity to be heard. So we'll certainly do the same thing when it comes to pushing this out for the Arts and Culture Plan for community engagement.
And thank you for bringing up focus groups, Amy. Yes, we're also working on focus groups over the late spring, early summer.
Okay.
Right. No, I'm very excited, and obviously when we have our next meeting in February, that I'll be able to give more great feedback to the committee, and that I know the whole committee is very excited about the potential outcomes from this. So this is a great process. We're very excited about it, and we'll help and contribute any way we can.
Thank you so much. And I'm so
Yeah.
sorry, I won't be able to stay for the whole meeting, but happy to share my information and also this presentation as well with whoever would like to see it, and just follow up if you have additional questions.
Yeah, if you can email it to me, I'll then forward it on to the group.
Yeah, just even having the slides would be also a nice, thing to be able to send to the committee too. That'd be great. All righty. Well, thank you, Abby. This is great, and we will now stay as long as you'd like, but we will continue on with our agenda for the meeting. And let's start it off. Let's see. Well, I was hoping that Mary Ruth would be here because she's got some updates. She's been, I can tell you because I spoke to her day before yesterday, that just to find out, the things that she's been working on. She's been actively working on being able to get to contact different organizations and be able to get our newsletter, or find out if we can get our newsletter connected to some of these organizations so that they can know what we're doing in the spirit of what we talked about just a little earlier. So she's doing the research on that, and if they will allow us to be able to either send the link to them, either for their own edification, but hopefully for mention in their newsletter, so that through their lists that people can be more exposed to the Revitalization Trust Fund and the work. She's actively working on that. Marcus had just sent her in the last couple of days two contacts that he has created, so that she can also contact those. So that she's basically compiling a list of these things, and we'll look for the results as we go. Just on that same note, that in just a day or two, well, actually, I think as the Monday or Tuesday of next week, I think it's already in the system, that our next issue of our newsletter, which we're going to be publishing monthly, is going to be coming out. So stay tuned, and I think Abby, you're on the mailing list now, so we'll send that. Look for that next week. Anyway. Let's see. We have a new banner that's going to be going up on Chapel Street on February 1st, which is for the Plugged In Band organization, and very excited about that. This will be the first time we've actually had a banner that is being cycled during the winter. so fingers crossed that the weather will be cooperative for us to be able to swap out the banner. I think it will be. They're just about to get they're going to have all their banners over to the PSAB by next Monday, and so look for the brand new plugged in band banner, and they have a whole fundraiser and awareness campaign that all kicks off in February, and then they have another one that's actually running through in April. So they're actually looking into the potential of being able to sponsor 2 months for their banner, and we should know probably in the next 3 or 4 days anyway, if that's going to be the case. So we hopefully will have a sponsor that runs February and March on an ongoing basis. Let's see. Postcard mailing. I've put together a design for 2 postcards that I will have almost finished with the configurations that are required to be able to fit, so that everything matches to the post office regulations. But the original template that I had used especially for the back of the card showed all the things in the appropriate places. But then when I went to upload it to do a test, that the vendor overlaid yet another overlay, which also included information or spacing that had to be re-edited. So I'm in the process of fixing that. So now we'll have a final template that will fit everybody's needs. So in the going forward, we will be able to just use that as a template and keep moving. But the concept behind this is to be able to take the database of people, or I should say, all the information that we have in terms of just actual physical names and addresses, because there are probably actually the vast majority of people who've donated to the Revitalization Trust Fund did not, or at the time had no email address. So we've been doing this for quite a while. Email is, believe it or not, a relatively new thing, and so we didn't have the facility for them to be able to actually put that in as part of the process. But in the last few years, we've been collecting as many emails as people would give us, or if they donate through the website, then obviously we get an email through that. And then we can send, from that list, we can send out requests if they would like to join our newsletter. But for the physical addresses, there's a whole lot of people who, we're not able to communicate with at all. And so this whole card intention is to be able to put all those names and addresses into a database. And by the way, I'm mentioning this because this is a volunteer opportunity because I could really use some help being able to get these in. We've got several hundred to be able to put in. So if you can, email me or let me know that, we could just get together for maybe a couple of hours and just both enter into the database so we can get them all up in an Excel spreadsheet. And then I can put it into a CSV file and load it right into the system. So that's a lot of technical jargon to say. We got a lot of typing to do. Anyway, but once we get that in there, then probably mid-February, we will send out this card to all of those people. And then we'll look for the opportunity for them to be able to join. It contains not only a QR code on it, so they could literally scan it with their phone. We're taking the lead from Cindy, our communications director, who sent out a really brilliant one-sheet paper, said what it was about, said scan here, and I thought, oh, this is awesome. So we're doing the same thing with a postcard, and it also says, or go to needhamma/NCRTF, and actually maybe tomorrow or on Monday, Amy, that I'll send you a new link that we can put onto the website so that we make it incredibly obvious where you can join our newsletter on there, because right now the thing that's there actually doesn't work. So we figured we'd go from not working at all to exactly what we were focusing on trying to be able to accomplish. So anyway, that's the scoop of the newsletter and the postcard. Let's see. We have also a new bench that is basically in process. Dave DeChico was a coach for Needham flag football and a variety of other things that he had done. And he passed away just last 2 years, I think. And his family would like to do something really, wonderful for him. And so did flag football. So flag football is actually in conjunction with Deborah DeChico are sponsoring the bench, which will be at Greens Field. I really like Dave's the slogan that or the celebration that he wants that she wants on the bench, which is this phrase that says, "It is what it is." Apparently he was famous for saying that many times. And so that bench is ordered. So we already received the funds for it, and it was approved by the select board on Tuesday. And we will now just basically wait the approximate 3 months for it to be built and delivered. But that's in process, and we're really excited about it. And this is the second bench at Greens Field. There are, I believe, 3 more that can be done at Greens Field. I had an inquiry just 2 days ago from a woman who is also interested in being able to do a celebration bench. So when I have the details of that, she's going back to her family now and understanding, what it's about, and she'll be back in touch. So we could have, by the end of the summer, we could potentially have 3 brand new benches there out of the 5. So that program's moving along,
Yeah.
and great thanks to to Park and Recreation for basically saying that we without having to go back to them every time, they've approved for us to replace all of those wooden concrete and wood slat benches as we have donors to be able to do them. One of the questions that have come up that I'm going to be making a phone call on is just to find out. I've got a number of inquiries that are asking about whether we were looking for people to donate to be able to put benches back onto the town common. And what I've told people is that my understanding is that as far as the town common design goes, and I said, and this is a common way that this happens, that this was done as a comprehensive design. So all the pieces are being planned and paid for and installed as part of the complete design. So however many benches are there, however many accoutrements are throughout the whole thing, that those things are already planned into their budget. And so the initially, and certainly for some period of time, my guess is that they would basically leave the common as it's in its state of complete design, without adding additional things into it that were not planned for at least for the short term. In the future, they might consider adding in some additional benches, that type of thing, but that's my understanding. And I'm going to give Ed Olson a call and just confirm that that's the case, so that I can make sure that I can pass on whatever the correct information is. And of course, we have Greens Field, where we have other opportunities, and potentially other places too. So that's where we're at.
A quick sidebar on the town common. Do you have any updates as far as stats or Amy potentially on finish dates and things like that? I have friends around town. People ask me in questions because they think that I know because we're part of the group. But is it due to open early spring? Are they on track? Are they?
Yes. So the majority of the work has been complete.
Yeah.
There's a few things that still need to be done, including there's a concrete sort of pad that needs to be put down, I believe, for the Circle of Peace. There's some additional landscaping that needs to be done. So the plan is to open it to the public in April. However, there are still some work that needs to be done as far as, touch-ups and additional plantings, those kinds of things. So if you're not signed up for the town's newsletter, I would encourage you to do so. I think there was an update, and I can put a link to last week's newsletter.
I was, but apparently I'm not.
But there was an update, I believe, in last week's newsletter. If not, I can check to see which issue it was in, but that announced that the work is primarily done and it will be open. I mean, it came together pretty quickly. And I think once we start seeing the finishing touches as far as the lawn furniture and the additional plantings, I hope that everybody will be really pleased. It looks really beautiful. Especially, I'm on second floor town hall, and if you go into Powers Hall and you look out, it's really nice. It's going to be great public gathering space.
Yeah, we're excited, and I know the whole town is. They want to. They love the they love the common, and it's a very symbolically important element to the entire town, and I think that all the questions about, when's this going to happen? What's that going to happen? So on is just because they're just really excited about being able to go out and experience it. So that's great. Any other questions about that? All righty. Brad's not here, so I'm going to reach out to him to find out about the update on the Charles River Street cleanup. We've already given you an update on the cultural group, and from Needham to the World, with the latest with this, two things. One little quick anecdotal story is that I have a brother-in-law who's visiting from Indiana, and he just this afternoon decided he just wanted to just go out and walk the downtown and just get a feel for things and stop in and get a coffee and something to eat. And when he came home, he goes, yeah, and I walked up to this picture on the wall, and I read every word. And he said, he said it was really interesting, and I was, it was really great. And I assume the guy's still alive because it doesn't have a a date range for him. And he said that was really great. He had no idea that I even had anything to do with it. He was just, he said he didn't know that was a part of a revitalization trust fund project. But I thought it was great timing to be able to have him out there and come from another state and be able to find that it was really engaging, and he was interested in the whole thing. So the feedback we've gotten, so far has been very positive, and we see. I was talking to the owner of Needham Center Fine Wines during last week, and he said, no, this is really great, Paul. He goes, I go out there to be able to, set up a sign or sweep up the sidewalk or something like that. And he said, I see people in strollers stopped in front of it, reading the thing, and they seem to be really enjoying it. So that's great. So the next iteration of this is our March through June with Tiger. So I've started to reach out to some of the restaurants who feature live music to see if they might be interested in being sponsors for the next one. And I've spoken directly with two. They would like to see that we have a group of 4 to be able to make it so that it's affordable, which would be $325 per business. And but they said if that's the case, that they are excited to be able to do it. So this gives us also another idea in terms of being able to as we go forward, put together 3 or 4 people to be able to come together to be able to be sponsors for future ones. So especially being able to, since we're moving through different targets in terms of, the areas, like, if we're talking about sports, if we're talking about music, and so on, that we can, reach out to the community, to people who are, very aligned with those types of things, and engage them for sponsorships. So that's this case. Jessica was here, and I was going to have her give an update on any of the things that she has, but it looks like she had to drop off or got dropped off. But I'm going to be sending the core information to the graphic artist either tomorrow or at the first of the week, so we can start to be able to put the basic concept design for the new mural together. We've got basically February to be able to still, to put this all together and get it produced. But we want to stay ahead of the game all the time. And then Jessica is working on the next one, and so she'll be able to give us more details at the next meeting as to what the one that's coming up will be. So that's the update. Any questions on From Needham to the World? And actually, one of the things that I wanted to let you know also is that the Needham Council for Arts and Culture just awarded us a $400 grant. So score. And thanks, I got the notice from Marcus because, he was been working on this. So another great success, Marcus. Thank you very much for all that work. We'll keep our fingers crossed for some of the other things that we've got out there. But that even if we ended up with just 3 out of the 4, sponsors, that we have an additional sponsor now to be able to help us either with the one that we're doing in March, or to use it on the next one. So that gives us basically, if you divide them by 4, that gives us a little more than one sponsor sort of, in the reserve. So that's great.
Yeah, it's really great. It's good news. I was really excited to see that they awarded us some funds to
Yeah.
help us. So
Well, we know their resources, even though they this year were much better than they've had in the past. That that they're still within a smaller scope, and those are the types of things that they are working on.
absolutely.
Being able to distribute the funds. So, hey, every contribution is fantastic, and we'll put them to good use, and use them to inspire other people too. So,
Right. And we're still waiting for that the Mass Cultural Council to come back with what their verdict is on whether we get any money from them. It should be this month or early next month, and that's a $50,000 grant. So if we get just a fraction of the grand prize, I think that would go a long way. I know we were trying to fund for a couple of the bigger projects like the art gallery, but if we don't get as large a amount of money, we could maybe move it to something else as well.
well, or it's obviously a big help to be able to have a substantial donation towards an individual project. It's always a much better place of strength to be able to say, if you have $25,000 or $50,000 towards a project that's $85,000 or $100,000, that you've already got significant funds to be able to complete it. And it also allows it to make it so that the amount you need to raise could be divided up into some smaller pieces that all come together from different people. So
Yep.
So if we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we'll use it to the best advantage, and because the mission is to be able to get the art gallery installed within 2023, and that realistically means that we need to get the funding by early spring, so that we have time to do the renovations to the wall, and be able to get the materials in and have them installed, so that by the fall we could be fully up and running. So that's it. That's what I have for the agenda for today. Anyone
Question,
else?
Paul.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt, and maybe this is just me being new. Is there a way for us to track? I mean, I sent out several emails to friends and family as far as donations prior to the holidays and over the holidays. Is there any way to follow up on my end to see who has or has not gifted anything, so I can sort of tickle them and or reach out to others as well?
Well, anytime someone donates, that the town hall will sends me the acceptance of the gift.
Okay.
There are two ways that people can do it. Obviously, one is to write a check,
Yeah.
And send it in, make sure that it says Town of Needham -NCRTF, so that we actually get credited with it.
Yeah.
The second is obviously through the website.
Honestly, yeah.
So, and those are super easy to track. But anytime the donations come in, that they get cataloged, and there's a form that they fill out for each one, and we've received donations from several of you from the committee which is fantastic. And a couple of the regular sponsors that have been, loyal sponsors. There haven't been any individual, donations of any size from basically the general public. So we'll have to see, this hopefully between the newsletter and the postcard, we'll be able to reach out in ways that are, more motivational for people to be able to really get engaged.
That's what I was sort of asking with the new newsletter coming out. That's sort of a nice opportunity to sort of, forward that along, be like, hey guys, remember this.
Yeah. No, that's right. And sometimes it is just a matter of sending out a reminder or something like that. And they go, oh yeah, I forgot to do that.
Especially over the holiday season, with Hanukkah, Christmas, New Year's, it's.
Yeah. So, and with the people that are regular sponsors, I start saying thank you to them basically in September. So, and then, we, as we sent out that email to the group just to say, I had put at the end, I don't even remember the PS, and it said something to the effect that, and if you haven't donated to the Revitalization Trust Fund, it's like, oh yeah, I meant to do that. And I said, here's the link. So they could just click the link.
Yep.
So we'll continue to reinforce that type of thing and get people more into the into the habit of doing it. And that's really what it comes down to, is being able to being able to reach people on a consistent basis and remind them that we're there to donate to, and how much of a difference their donation makes, are the types of things when the people go, we should do something about this, because it would be great if our family could do this, or we dedicate a bench, or help sponsor this particular project. So those conversations only come up when you're in enough of top of mind to have people think of it more than just once.
That's right.
So all right. So any other, since we are at the top of the hour, any other thoughts or questions, or we can turn it over to Carol to give us our next meeting.
Next meeting?
So what, anything else?
February 16th or 23rd?
Does either one work better for people?
Fine, either one for me.
Fine, either one.
Is it February 16th, and what's the other date?
23rd.
Either one, I'm fine.
That's school vacation week, just FYI.
Yeah, 23rd won't work for me. Now that I just remembered. Thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah,
Six-
16th better.
All right.
For me.
Good info. I guess we're going with the 16th. So,
I'm gonna be a
Okay.
bad week, so on the 23rd. So
all right.
I'll
Well-
set that up and keep an eye out for a Zoom link.
That's great. Amy, thank you for all the connections you've made to be able to help us, and obviously your ongoing Zoom ability. So that's a huge help and a great connection. And
Yeah.
we're really excited about the cultural.
And I'll keep everybody in the loop on the ongoing work of the Arts and Cultural Plan Working Group and opportunities to engage. I think it's a really great opportunity for the town. It's something that's been on the wish list, and it just, the stars aligned, and MAPC had the time, the resources, and ended up getting grant funding over the summer. Because when I spoke to them last spring, they were very unsure. And when I followed up with them after Labor Day, they said, we got the grant in and we can do this 100%. Because the timing was going to be off as far as us trying to get something in the town's budget. So it just worked out. So this is just, I think, a great opportunity for us to put something together that I think is going to make a huge impact on the town. And I do not want it to be a plan, like Abby said, that sits on a shelf. This is going to be a plan that's going to have some teeth in it, that has an outline of, what we can do, sort of action steps that we can take. We're not going to go through all this effort and have it be something that just not end up, meaning anything. It's gonna, I think, be pretty impactful. So I'm excited about it. So thank you guys for welcoming her to the group and being part of that conversation.
And I know that you'll be making every effort to make sure it doesn't sit on the shelf.
You bet. You bet.
So,
All right, guys. Thanks very much.
What
and
time do you have, Amy?
6:04 p.m.
Thank you. No. 6:04?
6:04.
6:04 p.m.
Motion to adjourn,
So move.
and we are
I'm
complete.
fine.
Great. Thank you all. Thanks, Amy.
All right, everyone.
Good night.
Right.
Bye.
Take care.